Today, we're looking at a red ink from Pelikan. It's their 4001 Red. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, down below in the description, there's timestamps of all the parts of the video, and if you are in a hurry, you can skip around, but if you got the time, I'd appreciate you if you check out the entire video. You can also follow me over on Instagram, and if you're new here and like ink reviews, I would invite you to subscribe. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then put the ink into this Platinum 3776 with a broad nib, wrote with it for a day, and used it to take the notes for this video. This first writing sample is done on Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. Additional papers will show up later. Now, let's look at the writing sample. I picked this ink up in sample form, so it came in a vial like this. And to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Get back in. Let's take a look at the Clairfontaine. We get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. Extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade, and 4 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 6 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we didn't get any. The interesting thing is how visible the line is that goes through it. Very transparent ink. Tomoe River. No bleeding, the most minor of Tomoe River ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is slightly darker than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 7 seconds to dry. Medium is quite a bit darker than the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 10 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show us no color variation, and there is none. And Rhodia, no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is darker than the stub, ever so slightly, with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade, 5 seconds to dry. Medium is quite a bit darker than the stub, quite a bit darker than the extra fine, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 7 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show us no color variation, and there is none. I agree with Vita that there's a lot to be learned by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And what strikes me is that this does not look so much like a red, but like a dark pink as it's moving up. And then it's a very bright, rich yellow at the top. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water. And there's virtually no difference between these two chromatographies, which makes me feel there's not going to be any real hold on. Resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. Now, I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it handled itself very well. I would be willing to use this in a note-taking situation if I wanted to highlight. It didn't have any blowout or anything, and I'm very shocked. Especially when you go look at water, which is completely reactivating and lifting this off of the page. I easily see the dots of the Rhodia dot pad coming through, and given more than 30 seconds, that's all you're going to need. Pen flush does everything that water does, and nothing more. And just to pause here, and I don't know if it's going to come through in the picture that I take, but I can see the dots of the Rhodia dot pad through the entire swatch of color. It's such a translucent color. 1/3 bleach solution completely obliterates it off the page, but you're not going to need that to get it out of your pen. I test viscosity or flow with a tilt test that I'll link down below in a description or in a card. Now for the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Pelikan 4001 Red has a viscosity of 1.52, making this a very wet ink. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples done on Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. I average those, and what I found is the average dry time is 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Pelikan 4001's red has an average dry time of 7 seconds, making this an incredibly fast drying ink. Instead of finding inks that look like Pelikan 4001's red, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I chose to go with a nice turquoise. Noodler's Dostoyeosky. The second writing sample is done on Vinta, Strathmore writing, and Limon paper. Here we're looking at the Vinta Pocket Notebook, hashtag the modern traveler. That's what it says on the bottom. See? Alright. No bleeding, no ghosting. So it did well there. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is slightly darker than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade, and 2 seconds to dry. Medium is quite a bit darker than the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, still 2 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we didn't get any. How about Strathmore writing paper? No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. Now the extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, and 3 seconds to dry. Medium is quite a bit darker than the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 5 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we still get none. How about Limon paper? No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, and 4 seconds to dry. Medium is quite a bit darker than the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 5 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we didn't get any. And that is all that I have for the writing samples. So what do I think of Pelikan's 4001 red? This is a very basic red, and it also doesn't scream off the page, "This is wrong," which is pretty good. So what nib and pen is going to give the best writing experience with this ink? Well, it's very predictable in its performance as far as its color. So this is dealer's choice. You can put it into just about any pen and really get the same performance. I do new ink reviews every single day, so if you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.